afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to the Crafty Corner. Today we are going to make a dragon. Now, we just tried to fly it, and it might fly if you are very careful with it, but it's a lot of fun. So this is what we are going to be making today. It is a little dragon, and all you need, boys and girls, is one paper plate. That's all you need. You also, of course, need some markers. You would need a pencil, a Sharpie or a black marker. You will need a stapler, and I'm going to show you a special trick today. So if you have a little bit of water on hand, you can use your finger, or if you have a paintbrush, that would work. And also, you do need a scissors because you're going to cut it out. Now, if you are on our Facebook page, Miss Cassie put the template, a link to this page. So if you have this page, this is what you're going to need to cut out to be able to make it. This is the dragon's body and wing, his head and his tail. So if you print this out at home, or you can always call the library and we can have a packet ready for you and you can take it home after you get it from here at the library, and you can make your own dragon. So let's go ahead and get started. What you're going to do is you're going to take your paper plate and you're going to fold it directly in half. So you're going to want to take your paper plate and line the edges up and crease it right in the middle. So you have a paper plate that's been folded. Then you're going to take your template that you have cut out. Each of your pieces need to be cut out. Now, what I found best is to take the body and the wing and to lay it right here on the very edge of your paper plate. So that's where I'm going to put mine today. So I'm going to stick it right here. I'm going to line it up, and you're just going to trace around it. You want to make sure you get each of the little bumps of his wing, and you're going to come down here. And so there you have the outline for his body and his wing. So you have all of the rest of the space now to put in the head and the tail. So if we can lay you might want to try to place both of those things on your paper plate before you trace it, so you make sure you have enough room. I'm going to put actually the head up here, I think, and then the tail should fit in right next to it. So it's a little tricky, but you can definitely have enough space for all of your pieces. So I'm going to trace my head, and then I'll remove that. Then I'm going to put in my tail. It looks like it's falling off the edge just a little bit, but that's okay. Make that arrow part of the tail, and then come on down this way. Now, you have all of the pieces, and you simply just need to then cut out. And boys and girls, if you are too young and you can't cut out the pieces, find somebody at home to help you. I'm sure you have an older sibling, or a mom or a dad or a grandma, somebody that would want to help you cut it out. Now, I hope that you paid attention and that the body of the dragon is on the fold. That's very important, because you don't want two separate pieces. So you've cut that out, and then we can fold our wings down, and then that's our body. You don't want to have two separate pieces there. So that part is done. Now I'm actually going to open this up because you really only need one head. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the horns on the back of that dragon. Come down here to where his neck is. And then this part here is his mouth. So if you look at some of my examples, you definitely want your little mouth to be pointed so that you can draw in the smile when you're done. Okay, so now we have his head. And then we're going to cut out his tail. And again, try to follow the pattern exactly as you can, as close as you can. And it doesn't matter if you leave some of the pencil mark, because you're going to color over it with marker today. Now, if you want to use crayons or colored pencils, you could do that, but I've got a really special cool trick I want to show you with the magic marker. Now, with the magic markers, you don't want to mark on your table. If mom and dad are letting you color on the kitchen table, don't get it on their table. So put a tablecloth down or something else. Now, I was going to show you this dragon that I made was mostly blue, and I did some different colors on his wings. I decided to make another example, and this time I did orange and purple, and then I made a green tail. So what do you think, boys and girls? Which one looks better? I think the blue one looks better. Adding a green tail when the rest of it's orange and purple, that was sort of a funky looking thing to do. So think about your colors that you want on your dragon. So I think I'm going to use blue and yellow and green. And you can do polka dots, you can do stripes, you can do anything that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and just trace the outside of my tail with blue. And you do want to do both sides because the tail is going to show on both sides. So there's the blue outline. And since I have a special little trick, I don't have to color it exactly super pretty. I'm going to add some yellow in here. Now you'll notice when I mix the yellow up next to the blue, you get a little green because blue and yellow make green. We're going to turn it over here to the other side. Okay, I'm going to set the tail aside. I'm going to work on his head. That's not his head. What did I do with his head? There is his head. Okay, and again, I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make some blue. There's his horns. His blue neck. Now, putting in the eye and the smiley part of his mouth, or you could put teeth if you wanted to, if you want to make a fierce dragon. Those are things are going to come in last. All right, so again, I'm going to add in some of the yellow on the dragon's neck and up by his horns. Okay. Now, with his body, you're going to want to color both sides of the body. You don't need to go inside the crease because we're going to actually staple that together. So let's see. Since I'm focusing mostly on blue, let's go ahead and just color some blue here and some blue here. Make sure that when you are coloring with markers that you have pretty juicy ones. That's what I like to call them. If they're about all dried up, they're not going to be near as pretty. So there's his body. Now the wings are where you can get really creative. You can do polka dots, you can do stripes. If you notice on this one, I sort of made waves of different colors, and that's sort of a neat pattern. And then on my purple one, I made big squares and then put color inside it. So I'd be really interested, boys and girls, to see what you are coming up with. What kind of designs you're going to put on your dragon wings. So for today, I think I'm going to sort of do just what I've been doing on the head and the tail. And I'm just going to take this one wing. I'm just going to outline it in blue. And I'm going to fold over here to the other side and outline this wing in blue. All right, it has a little bit more area to color. It takes a little bit longer. And let's see, I haven't used any green yet. So maybe I'll make a few, let's do polka dots. All right, now I haven't figured out what happens when I do polka dots. So I'm going to make 5 big dots on that wing, 5 big dots on this wing. Then I'm going to use my yellow and go ahead and just sort of scribble some of that yellow around those green polka dots. You can see sort of where I'm touching the blue and it sort of makes green as well. Now, if you have that water ready, here comes the fun part. Because these magic markers are water-based, and they will actually sort of spread and really make your colors come alive. So let me do the head first. So I'm going to take my water, and I've got a fan paintbrush, and you just need a little water. You don't want to soak your paper, because then it will be too flimsy. But look what happens when you add the water onto it. It will start to smear. I just think it gives it a really cool looking technique. I'm going to turn it over and smear that marker again. So instead of that yellow, it's almost going to be a green looking dragon now. I'm going to set that off to dry. I'm going to do the same thing with his tail. Okay, and so like when I practiced and used that orange and purple one, the orange didn't smear near as well. So that's why I wanted to use the yellow and the blue today, because it sort of smears much better and makes a really cool effect. Okay, and again, you don't want it super wet or he will be too soggy to put all together. And I'm going to stick him over here to dry. Now, let's see what happens with the polka dots. All right, I'm going to see what's going to happen. If those polka dots will stay or if they'll fade away. Isn't that pretty cool, boys and girls? I'm not going to put too much water on there because I want those polka dots to still stay. I don't want them to vanish. All right, let's go ahead and water this magic marker. So this is why you don't have to color it in just perfect. When you use magic markers, you can smear it, and it takes less time to actually do all the coloring. Now, if I want to smear his body, I can do that too. See what happens? I mean, just right away, it just brightens it up, and you don't have to spend all that time coloring it just perfectly. And again, we'll add a little water here. It's almost like paint, isn't it? Isn't that cool? All right, so once all of that is done, all we have to do now is put him together. You might want to have him dry a little bit, or maybe take a napkin if you've used a little bit too much water and pat him dry. That sort of gives you another effect on your dragon. All right, so you want his tail. I believe his tail needs to go down, okay, because if you went this way, I don't think that's going to really work, is it? So you're going to want to put our dragon's tail so he's headed down and out. And you're going to want your stapler. Now, if you don't have a stapler at home, boys and girls, glue will work. You're just going to have to hold it in place, probably for 30 seconds to a minute in order to make the tail stay in place. So here we're just going to staple that little tail right there. And then we're going to put our head in over here. Okay. And again, just use one staple. And he's almost done. Not quite. Because right now, he's blind, isn't he? He has no way to see out. So you're going to want to lay him down. Now, I have a Sharpie. If you use a watercolor black, it might run. So a Sharpie would probably be the best. So just somewhere up here near his horns, you're going to want to draw your circle. You can draw a little dot in it. And near the point of his nose, draw that line. And I like to make him happy. If you want to draw teeth, that would be fine too. Now, of course, he doesn't have just one eye. He has two. So flip him over and give him another eye. And draw that line in there. And now I have a happy flying dragon. Now, before you play with him or try to let him fly, you're going to want him to dry if you've used the water technique. But I think he turned out really pretty, and you can still see those green polka dots in there even after the water smeared the yellow and the blue together. So he's very sort of fluorescent colors with the green and yellow in there. Now, boys and girls, remember, the reason we are making the dragon today is because our summer reading program is called Imagine Your Story. And we have all kinds of decorations here in the library with all the fairy tale characters. And the dragon, of course, is in a lot of our stories. Now, I hope you've had fun with this today. And if you have made one at home, please show us. I would love to see your dragons, or even maybe bring it in next week, because we'll be able to start seeing some of you guys soon. All right, so that was our craft for today. This is our little flying dragon made out of a paper plate. Next week, we are going to be making a tin can owl. So if you have some green beans or corn at home, save that can so that you can create along with me at the Crafty Corner here at Fayette County Public Library. Thanks for coming today.